Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Tenuous Defense by John J. Spearman. Narrated by Joel Richards. 1. "Huh," Kelly remarked. "That guy must be new." "What guy?" Cliff asked. "Delivery driver," she said, pointing out the window over Cliff's shoulder. "The nav computer should have taken him to the rear of the building, not the front." A horrified look crossed Cliff's face. He lurched toward Kelly, wrapped his arms around her, and tackled her to the floor, falling next to his desk just as the bomb detonated in the vehicle outside. As he fell, glass from the shattered floor-to-ceiling windows in the office sliced through the air, with dozens of shards stabbing deep into the back of Cliff's body. Kelly was stunned, first by the explosion, then by the impact of Cliff's body on hers when he tackled her to the floor. Cliff knocked her wind out, and she struggled to breathe. His body lying on top of her made it even more difficult to regain her breath, and she squirmed to get him off, unaware of his injuries. As she fought for air, she saw the ceiling bow and buckle, then begin to collapse. Emergency vehicles started to arrive at the scene within 10 minutes. The building was a ruin. Some survivors managed to begin clawing their way out of the rubble. The rest needed to be dug out. When darkness fell, spotlights were brought in so they could continue the work. Progress was slow and dangerous. The debris would shift with little warning. The rescue workers did not find Cliff and Kelly until after the sun came up. A faint, annoying beeping penetrated the fog of Kelly's consciousness. Except for that, everything was quite pleasant. She felt as though she was wrapped in a soft cocoon. Thinking was difficult. It would have been much nicer to enjoy how she felt, if only that stupid beeping would stop. The metronomic beep continued. She wished Cliff would turn off the alarm. She did not want to wake up just yet. Everything was so pleasant. Eventually her brain slowly realized the sound was not that of a wake-up alarm from a comm unit. That displeased her. It meant that Cliff wouldn't roll over and stop it. She tried to ignore it. That didn't work. The unceasing and increasing irritation of the sound compelled her brain to try to figure out what would cause it. If she knew what it was, maybe she could perhaps make it go away. It was a chore to think. Holding a focused thought was almost impossible, as her mind only wanted to drift along. She struggled to make the effort. The beeping sound was vaguely familiar. She had heard it before. The murky memory of the beeping was not associated with anything pleasant. "Oh, I'm in a hospital," she realized. That can't be good. Hospitals meant injuries or disease. In her dreamlike state, Kelly had no idea which of the two it might be. She wasn't sure she really wanted to know. Now that she'd solved the mystery of what was causing the sound, she might be able to ignore the beeping. Curiosity and the inability to dismiss the beeping sound eventually prodded her mind into action. Tentatively, she examined how she felt, limb by limb. Almost immediately, she sensed something was wrong with her right arm. "It's probably all screwed up," she thought. "There is pain there, but it seems really far away. That's nice." She continued her internal review, staying on the right side of her body. Her arm was not the only thing she encountered where things did not feel right. The whole side of her body was... What the hell? In an instant, the jangled memory returned, of Cliff wrapping his arms around her, the flash of light, him driving her to the floor, the eerie silence of deafness. her inability to draw breath, and the sight of the ceiling collapsing. The beeping beside her increased its pace dramatically. Another alarm sounded. Her pleasant cocoon vanished, and icy fear seized her mind. Kelly heard rapid footsteps. She sensed someone standing near her. It felt like she could not breathe. "Doctor, I need you here now. The patient has regained consciousness, but she's going into shock," Kelly heard. "Captain Bertkovich," the voice near her said quietly but insistently. "Captain Bertkovich, please listen to me. You're having a panic attack. Listen to my voice. You're in the hospital, but everything will be okay. Captain Bertkovich." "Knock her out again," came a different voice. "Make sure someone is here when she comes out of it." "Captain Bertkovich? My name is Julie Cartelli. I'm a nurse, and I'm holding your left hand right now. I know you can hear me. The monitors showed that you just regained consciousness. You've been under pretty heavy sedation, and I'm sure you're confused as hell. Listen to my voice and try to remain calm. Stay with me, Kelly. Stay with me. I'll explain what I can, but you need to try to stay calm. Don't try to open your eyes. There's a bandage over them." "There was an explosion outside your office," Cartelli continued. "The building collapsed, and you were injured by falling debris. You should make a full and complete recovery. You suffered several broken bones on your right side, and some of the dust from the rubble got into your eyes. You will not lose your sight. If you understand, squeeze my hand." Kelly struggled to process what the nurse told her. Whatever drugs they'd given her made it difficult. She felt the nurse holding her hand and squeezed it gently. "Cliff," Kelly croaked. "Admiral Rawlins saved your life," Cartelli said. "He covered most of your body with his and took the brunt of the force from the explosion and from the building's collapse." "Alive," Kelly rasped. "We can talk about that later." "No," Kelly demanded, her voice cracking from the dryness in her throat, clenching Cartelli's hand with all her strength. "Admiral Rawlins is in critical condition," Cartelli said quietly. Kelly's response was delayed as she processed what that meant. When she did, a tortured sob escaped. "Stay with me, Kelly," Cartelli urged. "Stay with me. The best doctors on Pentheus are taking care of him, and specialists from Tarshan and Glaucus have also arrived. They will do everything they can to make sure he survives. He is in the best possible hands right now." Once again, the beeping sound increased its pace. Kelly was struggling for breath. She felt faint. "Kelly! Kelly!" Cartelli snapped. "Stop this, Kelly! You can't help Cliff by panicking." In hindsight, Kelly figured that Nurse Cartelli's use of Cliff instead of Admiral Rawlins was what had arrested her panic attack. Such a little thing, but it carried with it a much more human and less antiseptic context. Kelly's heart rate slowed, and color returned to her face. "That's better, Kelly," Cartelli said. "Would you like some water?" "Mm-hmm." "Kelly, Admiral Rawlins will need your support to get through this. You can't help him if you're weak," Cartelli said as she put the straw between Kelly's lips. "Not weak," Kelly muttered, with angry ferocity after she swallowed. "Damn straight," came another voice. "Blown up, broken-boned, and bruised to hell, but not weak." "Daddy?" Kelly asked, after she puzzled out whose voice it was. "Yes, honey," he answered. "I'm here too," another voice added. "Mom?" Nurse Cartelli let go of Kelly's hand. She felt the dry clasp of a different feminine hand. It could only be her mother, Bet's. "How did you get here?" Kelly asked. Alvorus had already contacted us and suggested we leave Palmyra, her father George answered. He wanted to get us out of the Union while we still could. The way things are going, he reckoned the USS might come to lock us up to try to get to you. But so far away, Kelly murmured. Our visit was supposed to be a surprise, her father said. We left Palmyra 2 weeks ago. Some Centurion people have been with us since the liner left Union space. They accompanied us for the rest of the journey to make sure nothing bad happened. What happened? Kelly asked in a murmur. Bomb? Mr. Kirchner told us that a truck pulled up to the front of your office building, George Bertkovich said. There was a huge bomb inside. The driver blew it and herself up. How bad? Kelly whispered. Can I tell her? Her father asked someone. Captain Bertkovich, came another voice, will tell you, but you need to promise you will try your best to stay calm. If you can't, we may need to sedate you again. Do you understand? Yes. Calm, Kelly said. It was bad, honey, her father said. People died. You didn't, because Cliff threw himself on top of you. How many? Kelly asked. 43. Kelly heard the annoying beeping pick up its pace dramatically as she reacted to this information. She knew the beeps were her heart rate. Kelly promised she would remain calm, so she fought to control her emotions. The beeping slowed a little, though not back to its previous level. I think that's enough for now, the other voice said. Please, Kelly pleaded. No more questions. Let my parents stay. Fine, the voice said after a moment. But you cannot become agitated. Nurse Cartelli will keep a close eye on you to make sure. Thank you. James, where are you right now? Bill Kirchner asked. Miranda and I are aboard a liner heading to Aegeus, James Sorensen answered. Why Aegeus? Cliff told us to get out of harm's way, Sorensen said. Aegeus seemed as safe a place as any. I would like you to come to Pentheus, Kirchner said. Isn't that like sticking my head into the lion's mouth? It is, but we need you, Kirchner said. Someone just tried to blow up Centurion's entire operation. Cliff Rawlins is in the hospital and, well, it doesn't look good for him. Alvorus is laid up as well, and I've stepped in to fill his shoes temporarily. We need someone to run Swiftsure, and you're the first person I thought of. Damn, Sorensen said softly then. Miranda, check the news feeds for an explosion on Pentheus. Bill, our next stop is Meleager. We can jump ship there. Thanks, James. I'll have someone make the arrangements to meet you and get you here. Bill, how bad is it? We lost 43 people, James, Kirchner said, and everyone else who was in the office is injured at least a fair amount. The whole building collapsed. How are Kelly, Al, and Ronnie? Kelly just woke up, Kirchner said. Her right side got smashed. She's lucky it wasn't worse. Cliff was mostly lying on top of her and took the brunt of the impact when the ceiling fell in. Al and Ronnie both have a couple of broken bones and concussions. They should be able to help figure things out in a day or two. Kelly should be able to guide you in picking up the pieces by the time you arrive. What about Kevin Albrecht and Terry Sofer? James asked. They didn't make it, Kirchner sighed. That's one of the most pressing things you and Kelly will need to do. Find their replacements. I am pretty sure schedules are set for the ships at least a couple of months out, but things always come up that require adjustment. Admiral Wasson, of Attis, Silvius, and Meleager, which one is closest to your strike force? Padma Barwani, the Secretary-General of the Union of Free Planets asked.
Sylvius, Madam Secretary. Fine. Proceed to Sylvius immediately. Swiftsure may have prevented us from adding Hammond, but Sylvius is an acceptable alternative, Barwani said. Are you sure that Swiftsure has no ships in the Sylvius system? Wasson asked. The USS tells me that there are no Swiftsure vessels in any of the 3 systems I mentioned, Admiral. And Swiftsure won't be juggling their forces to fill the gaps in coverage. You sound awfully certain, Madam Secretary, Wasson remarked. That's because one of our supporters on Pentheus just blew Centurion's headquarters building to smithereens, Barwani said with a grin. Most of what's left is no more than waist high. Just curious, Madam Secretary, Wasson ventured. But is this the other arrow in your quiver you referenced? Perhaps, Admiral. But that would be telling, wouldn't it?
When James and Miranda arrived at Meleager Station, they were met by 2 men in dark suits. Everything about the 2 screamed bodyguard. They confirmed they were hired by Alvorus to make sure nothing happened to Miranda and James on their journey to Pentheus. Once aboard the liner, they dove into learning all the things Swiftsure was doing. Kevin Albrecht and Terry Sofer's subordinates were injured, but capable of providing guidance. At the end of the first day, James felt overwhelmed.
They need help,
Miranda said. Of course they do, James replied.
I meant it in a different way, Miranda said. Kevin and Terry did an adequate job in their areas, but neither possessed the necessary background. Both were naval officers. Swiftsure grew so rapidly that it outstripped their ability. What Swiftsure needs are specialized logistical experts. Terry and Kevin did the best they could, but it's a unique skill set. It's the main reason why sorting this all out is so difficult.
I can vouch for the fact that it is difficult to wrap my head around, James groaned.
Exactly, Miranda stated. There have been so many ship transfers and route adjustments that it's hard to tell that there was ever a system in the first place. I know there was a system because I helped them set it up.
Murdo has ships that will be ready in a few days, and I don't have an answer yet about where their crews are, James said. One person thought they were in transit but couldn't access the right files and personnel that included the transport orders. Another was pretty sure they hadn't left yet because of the bomb.
Where did Cliff intend to send the ships? Miranda said.
Alvorus knows. I think he will be back in the office tomorrow.
He probably won't be able to put in a full day, Miranda warned.
I know, James sighed. This is all just so incomprehensible. I served the Union for 30 years. Bombing an office building like they just did would have been inconceivable. Anyone suggesting it would have been cashiered immediately.
Oh, the Union claims they had nothing to do with the bombing, Miranda said. Yet a group calling itself Progressive Pentheus praised the attack, though they did not claim responsibility. By the way, has anyone heard from the government?
Bill Kirchner, probably, James answered. I'll call him, if only so I can bitch at him for throwing this in our laps.
James, honey, you don't mean that, Miranda counseled. Sure, it's hard as hell to jump into this in the middle without people who know what was going on, but... Well, I don't want to see what Cliff built fall apart, especially at the hands of the kind of people who could do something like this.
I know, Miranda. I'm just venting. Let me call Bill and see if he can help sort out the question of whether the crews are in transit to Tarshan and where the ships are supposed to go. Bill, James here. I have a couple of questions I need answers to. I hope you can help. All I can do is try, Kirchner replied. Shoot. Murdo has ships that will be completed in a couple of days, James said. Are the crews on the way to Tarshan? Yes. Thank God, James sighed in relief. Where are the ships supposed to go? 25 to Meleager, 10 to Silvius. Christy Jenkins is sending 15 from her force and Hammond to Silvius, so we will have a full squadron there. 5 of the Cavaliers will leave Murdo's yard for escort duty. So when the latest ships arrive, we will have squadrons in Pentheus, Tarshan, Glaucus, Hammond, Meleager, and Silvius. None yet in Attis. Correct. Attis is the furthest away from Union space. It's a calculated risk, but one we needed to make, Kirchner said. Have we heard anything from the government about the bombing? As for their investigation, nothing official yet, Kirchner said. Off the record, they are closing in on the group behind it and should be making arrests any minute. Who did it, Bill? It's hard to imagine mature adults doing something so cowardly. It's the same people behind all the protests, Kirchner said. The group was funded by people who support the ideals of the Union's Progressive Party. Originally, their leadership all came from the Union, but the government deported those people not long ago. Of course, they don't need to be present to call the shots. It disgusts me that there are people who would think this is an acceptable way to achieve political goals, James muttered. If you want to hear something worse, Al Voris bought a huge chunk of land out in the countryside not long ago, and is building a compound to house all of Centurion's operations and provide housing for all the employees, Kirchner said. It was Cliff's idea. He predicted something like this would happen and wanted us away from the city and somewhere we could control access completely. We just didn't have enough time to build it. You're right, Bill. That is worse. God damn it. 2. When the bomb exploded, Cliff tackled me, Kelly explained. I didn't know exactly what happened. Too stunned, I guess. He knocked my wind out when he fell on top of me. I couldn't hear anything, I couldn't breathe, and I was panicking. He was just dead weight on top of me. I remember trying to shove him off me, and then I saw the ceiling start to cave in. That explains why your injuries are only on your right side, Dr. Martinson said. That was where you were trying to get out from under him? I think so. Yes, it was, Kelly remembered. But that's not really important. What's wrong with Cliff? No one has told me anything other than he's in critical condition. All I know about critical condition is it's not good. How critical? What happened to him? When the bomb exploded, the window shattered, the doctor explained. Admiral Rawlins shielded you with his body. Nearly 100 shards of glass. Oh, my God! Kelly gasped and began to sob. Nearly 100 pieces of glass were driven into him, the doctor continued when Kelly composed herself again, along with shrapnel from the truck that blew up. Those shards of glass and bits of metal struck him from the back of his head down to his ankles. In size, they ranged from a couple of millimeters to a couple of centimeters. When the roof collapsed, what fell landed mostly on him and not on you, which is why only your right side is injured. In addition, the falling debris jammed some of the glass and shrapnel in deeper. A few pieces damaged some of his organs. He's going to die, isn't he? Kelly sobbed. Not if I can help it, the doctor said firmly. Yes, he's as badly injured as any case I'm familiar with. But if he were going to die, I think he would have done so already. I can't guarantee that he will live, and I won't put it in writing, but that's the way I feel. He'll be crippled, though, Kelly moaned. Again, not if I can help it, Dr. Martinson stated, even more strongly than before. Now, I can give you some good news or a whole lot of bad news. I'm going to start with the good. The Premier has authorized us to employ the latest generation of medical nanobots in his recovery. Pentheus has the most advanced medical technology in all of settled space. Our nanobots are 2 or 3 generations more advanced than anything available anywhere else. The head of the program is personally overseeing their application.
Nanobots are hideously expensive, aren't they? Kelly asked.
The cost, in this case, will be upward of 100 million credits.
My God!
Don't worry. The government is paying for this. The Premier did not blink an eye at the price tag, Captain Bertkovich, he said. That's it for the good news.
I don't think I can take it if you go into detail on all the bad news, Kelly whispered.
I'll give you a high-level summary then, he said. His pelvis and both scapulae are crushed. Many bones are broken, and some you could describe as shattered. His skull is fractured, as are multiple vertebrae. There is damage to his lungs, kidneys, liver, and spinal cord. The spinal cord was not severed. We can put that in the category of good news, I think. There is also ligament damage in various places where things fell on joints.
Dr. Martinson paused. Kelly's complexion was ashen and her breathing shallow. He waited for her to regain some of her self-control. Her mother, sitting by Kelly's side, squeezed her hand.
Despite that horrific list of injuries, there is still hope he will recover. The nanobots are already at work all over his body, repairing lacerations to his internal organs, rebuilding ligaments, matching up bone fragments, and knitting them together. When I described some of his bones being shattered, that's an oversimplification. But on a nanobot level, they're simply a puzzle with more pieces. They are already making progress. In a rather perverse way, the director of our nanobot program is thrilled to have her babies, as she calls them, tackle a patient as brutalized as Admiral Rawlins is. If you were to ask her, she would tell you that she is completely confident that Admiral Rawlins will make a complete recovery in 4 to 6 months.
You are not as optimistic, Kelly suggested. That does sound unrealistic.
Captain Bertkovich, I want with all my heart for her to be right, Dr. Martinson said. We have a long, long way to go. Every minute, every hour, and every day that passes, the odds get better. How long it will take.
When can I see him?
Captain Bertkovich, you have your own injuries, and we can't even think of allowing you out of bed for at least a couple of weeks. Even then, your whole right side will be immobilized. On top of that, Admiral Rawlins is in a medically induced coma. We don't plan on bringing him back to consciousness for a couple of months.
I still want to see him, Kelly said adamantly. Even if he's unconscious, I want to talk to him so he can hear my voice. Please, Dr. Martinson. Please.
I understand.
James, one of the Swiftsure people just passed along a report, Miranda said. The same Union force that turned away from Hammond is heading to Sylvius. They are 1 jump away.
Damn it! Our squadron is at least 3 days out, Sorensen said.
Troop transports have met up with the original force, Miranda added. By the time our ships get there, Union soldiers will have landed on the surface.
Where they can hold the entire population hostage. Son of a bitch, Sorensen growled. The information. It's solid, not just a rumor.
From one of our own convoys, Miranda said. They made sure they stayed the hell out of the way.
I'm somewhat surprised they didn't attack us, James said.
It would have slowed them down by more than a day. I think they're in a hurry to nab Sylvius before any of our ships can get there.
You're right. It's the bigger prize, James agreed. Fine. I need to let Bill and Al know. They might want to bring our other clients in on the discussion. Miranda, he said a minute later, what happened to the Union? I would expect this sort of horrible conduct from people like the Hallorans and their cronies. not from the progressives. I think they found themselves backed in.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?